Yeah, you're gonna. Or is it Carly's doing it?
What?
Who's leading this off?
I will.
Oh, never mind. Sorry,
Unless
Shane.
you want to do it, Shane, but
I have no clue what's happening.
then I'll do it.
Somebody do it.
Got a clue, or at least like, I made the clue of what's happening.
Jeez, guys.
I know, I should be better.
Are we good to go? Like, is the streaming and everything though?
We're waiting on confirmation.
Cool. Does everybody have Unity open, by the way? Because I'm just going over Unity stuff. If not on your own devices, on the computers that we conveniently have here with Unity on them.
Do you want me to sit over here and just like press the button for you?
Nah,
I mean,
I'm
if you
doing
do
both.
want to follow along
Okay.
or play around with what he's going over.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything you want to discuss right now?
It's literally just highlighted. I have nothing to discuss.
Okay. So those are the announcements. Loud?
No, what about
No,
you?
my
students?
headphones still aren't working.
If they want
I don't know how to
Are
connect.
you
them.
seriously
Say,
using
like,
Bluetooth headphones, man?
if there's any new faces,
Yeah, my headphones back to my
say
phone
hi,
broke,
give them a
so
chance
now
to
I'm
say hi. And then say like,
Okay.
You should get something.
Can someone go to this link and see if we're live?
Now it's you are live.
Yeah.
You are live.
We are live.
live.
Can someone go to this link with headphones and tell us if we have audio? I'll keep on talking to see what's going on. I know. We're just like, we got this.
we're good.
Sorry, you've got a time machine. This content is unavailable.
As soon as the ad's finished, I can tell you.
In the meantime,
Oh, it's creator, not
say hi to
creature.
new people or?
Oh.
You got audio.
We got audio? Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
I'll
all
sit
good.
down. You do your thing.
Okay. Okay. So, hi guys, welcome back. Second week of GCS. This is exciting. Thanks. So I've already seen a couple of new faces here. I think a few in the back here. Did you guys want to introduce yourselves, or it's up to you?
Yeah, my name is Angelo. I'm in animation.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool.
Is there anything you wanted to learn while being in GCS or take part in or do on the side?
Here.
I would love to learn new things, of course, but I was more curious about the whole general idea of the talk.
Okay.
But yeah, I would love to learn. Unity maybe?
Yeah,
Very
Unity's
popular.
good. Unity's pretty common and easy to learn. Well, easy-ish.
Easy for a game like creation software program.
It's easy-ish. And you?
Hello again. My name is Andrew. I was actually here last week.
Oh, okay, sorry. You waved your hand that you were new. I'm trying to remember everybody's names and faces. Sorry. But yeah, I don't know. Does anybody else want to introduce yourselves? It's up to you. Hello.
Hi, I'm Corbin.
Hi.
I just wanna give my overall skills when it comes to like art.
Cool.
I
Great.
should also say I'm in the game design concentration.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool. Well, for those of you that are new, my name is Carly. I'm VP of Operations. This is Shane, our president. Austin, VP of Events. Dylan, VP Finance. And Nathan, VP of Communications, who's helping run the stream. Woo, thank you. You're always applauding. So I guess official JCS rules. We really don't have anything to cover. I just wanted to like say hi guys and give new people a chance to introduce themselves. But really, like, we don't have any official GCS updates right now, other than, like, this is Angelo, and he's going to present about the new Unity stuff that's going on right now. That sounds really cool. And when he's done with that, we're just going to hang out and play games. That was our plan for today. Did you have anything to go over?
Yeah, I'll just be going around to new people, seeing what you'd like to learn about. If you have any requests or anything like that, we'll try to work out some workshops and course material which we can share with you, or any other opportunities you're concerned about in the program.
Yeah, or like events like this where Angelo's like, hey, I want to show this cool thing and have the space to do that. So we're like, cool, there you go. So yeah, anything from you guys? All right, awesome. So I'm gonna hand the time over to Angelo. This is Angelo here, one of my best friends.
Hi, GCS friends.
Yeah. So yeah, go on ahead, show us what's new, and again, if you guys have Unity open, you can go ahead and follow along.
Okay, friends. My name is Angelo, and today I'm presenting on behalf of the game creator space, we're gonna explore Unity's new input system, and it's kind of really cool. It sort of competes with paid extensions such as Rewired and stuff, and it sort of replaces the input manager that kind of is behind on the times for Unity. So this is what we're gonna go over today. Hopefully I did everything and didn't leave anything bad in there. Okay, cool. So we're going to first off learn about me. We're gonna learn about the old Unity input manager. We're gonna learn about the new input system. So when I say the old system or the new system, I'm definitely talking about the old input manager and the new input system. We're gonna be talking about just sort of how we use it and what we can look forward to, and some demo stuff. During this time, anytime where it's like demo, I'm gonna be like in Unity, like hands-on, and I'll be breaking down how to use the old Unity input manager system for people who haven't touched Unity, and I'm going to also be doing the same for the new input system. So if I'm going too fast or too slow, let me know. I'll be looking in the who asked a question? I'll be looking in the questions as I go along, just so like I make sure I don't miss anyone.
I'm gonna just make sure the chat's going, so if anyone has a question who's watching, knows later.
Yes. What would be best though is if it shows up, like if you tell them to go to that as well, like on their phone, to that link. That way I can see everything in one place. So that's just a quick solution to make sure all the input is coming in all at the same time. Anyways, a little bit more about me. My name is Angelo. I graduated DMIT, Games Programming, and I was VP Public Relations at the GCS. I currently teach kids how to code, which is the reason why I like sitting in front of all of you and yelling at people. I use Unity, Game Maker Studio 2, and because of what I'm teaching, I also teach Python and a little web program called Scratch. My non-programming background includes basketball coach, gardener, political activist, and aspiring slam poet. And hamster parent. But none of these really have to do with programming, right? One of the things you gotta know about Unity and programming in general, and game development in general, is no matter what background you have, you can learn things. So hopefully by the end of this exploration with you, maybe this will help you take another step in the right direction. Okay, so this is something I need to point out. I am not the expert. TJ is. Really, I'll bring up this slide a lot. This slide 4, I need to remember that. I'll bring up the slide a lot because I don't get things working all the time instantly. I just like looking at the way things are and getting excited about things. So this is the reason why I really looked at the new input system. So the Alberta Game Jam, we made a local multiplayer game where you could drop in, drop out, and I forgot to make it on button press instead of just on button. So you could spawn and drop out infinitely, and things were shenanigans. So that was that. So, am I missing a slide? I'm not the expert. Okay, input manager. Let's open up Unity. So I'm gonna zoom over here.
Who made that game for Alberta Game Jam again?
That was me.
That was you?
That was me.
Was it you by yourself?
It was not me by myself. It was
Adam,
not here.
He's in the chat.
He's in the chat. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm just gonna I'm in the wrong project. That is an issue. Oh no, I was not prepared for that. Okay, so oh my gosh. 1 second. This is something I didn't actually anticipate, but it's fine. I gotta turn around, friends. Okay. Oh no. We're getting there, guys.
I can tell you about my failed presentation from this morning or earlier this afternoon if you want. Or you could.
We're almost ready. We're almost ready.
Take votes from games.
Yeah, you guys can also just yell at me in questions. I'm gonna look at the questions right now.
What's your favorite kind of pie?
What's my favorite kind of pie? Raspberry pie.
What's the answer to the question?
Which one?
Well.
Oh,
the
question.
question.
Oh, the meaning of life?
Yes.
1 second. Let me. So, what's the? Oh, I need to go over here.
Focus it.
Sorry. I just want you guys to know that I appreciate you. So what's answer the meaning of life? Programming. Okay. So I'm gonna open up a new thing. I'm gonna make sure I'm in a Unity 2019 points, at least 2019.1. Okay. So long as you're there, you can use old and new input systems. I'm just gonna call this input and be lazy, and then I'm gonna drag it over there. So open that up. Make sure you're there. And the first thing I want you to do before anything happens, I'll just drag this over to the other screen. The first thing I want you to do, this will look differently on different computers. On mine, because I'm a Mac, this is going to look really bad. I want you to go to, where are we? I can't see from this angle. There we go. I want you to go to project settings. Friends, I want you to go to project settings. So mine's going to open up on another window, because it's great. Project settings. Okay. So this is where the input manager lies, in project settings, in input. Okay. So you'll find that probably in edit on Windows. And this is what we have to work with. Other than just pulling things, we can get gamepad input or other input by looking at any of these axes, right? Any of these axes, and looking into it. And this is a lot to take in just to figure out what's going on for this horizontal movement, right? So does having left, right as a key make sense? What happens if I capitalize it? Will that stick? It doesn't. Unity Input Manager is extremely picky. So if I do left without capitals, it sticks. A lot of the time when using the Input Manager, you will have that problem. That's one of the first things I want to go over, is that this is not very user-friendly. And what happened?
Can you make that bigger?
Uh,
Kind of see on the stream.
Can I make this bigger?
Yeah, just make them a bit bigger.
I can.
No, okay, never mind.
I can, but the thing about it is, if I full screen this,
No,
just
no worries.
no,
You can, it's all good.
no, I'm saying I can. The text doesn't get bigger. Is
That's
what
what I meant.
the text does not get bigger. Anyways, continuing on with this. So this can't do anything for anyone on stream. The best I can tell you is just follow along by opening Unity with at least 2019. So we're here. This is the input system. It's kind of the worst. I just see swipe back over here. So what are some of the issues that we have with input system? Or what are the things that we can talk about with input system? First off, it's axis based, right? So I'm gonna go back to the axis manager. So all these axes are kind of like how you use the input. So if I go over to horizontal for gamepads and it doesn't even label them properly, this is a joystick axis, right? So you don't even see what's going on here. It's horizontal. Why are the two things named the same? Do you know? Well, for the people who are joining us for the first time for Unity, I'll show you what you're gonna do in just a second to get this to work. But this is something that's not very user friendly, right? It's all based off of this axis system, which is kind of bloated and kind of unclear. Okay. It's verbose and it uses strings. So this is how you use it. So it's input.getAxis and then the name of the axis as a string, which is why it's really important that our strings are sometimes named the same things, which is kind of inefficient. So just to show our new Unity friends how that works, if I were to code that, I'm gonna just make an empty game object here. As soon as I can right click, there we go. So as soon as I make an empty game object and add a script, that needs to be capital. I'm gonna make a new script, yeah. So I'm gonna make a new script. You can do it by right clicking down here and creating a new C# script. If you're wanting to do that. And you want to attach it to your game object. So if you're creating it using that menu down there, you can click on it and drag it over.
So text.
I just called it test. You can call it whatever you want. Please start with a capital and not a number.
What did you choose exactly?
I chose test.
Just text.
Just test. And then I'm going to double click and open it. No worries.
Well, it didn't show up under SS.
Okay. So I'll just wait up. What is quantum theory in 4 words or less? I don't know. That's your answer. Okay. So when everyone's caught up, we'll be over here. We'll have this Unity behavior. It'll say this: public class test, void start, and update. This is how we. What we're doing right now is we're gonna pull, which is taking information constantly, right? So we're gonna do this in the update step. I'm gonna type in input with a capital I, and notice how it gives us this class Unity engine.input. I just get tab, and that's gonna autocomplete for me, and it's gonna turn into a auto-completed color thing, right? So I'm gonna do input. And then we have a whole bunch of other things when I press dot. So dot is our accessor. It's how we get into our, not our accessor. It's a dot notation which allows us to get stuff from other things. So just think of it as a piece of punctuation in your sentence of coding. Okay. So is everyone caught up with me so far? If you aren't, please just raise your hand so I can just, okay. How far behind are we?
Well, trying to figure out. It's like it's like you said. You simply chose text and I got with it, but it doesn't show it under SSCs.
Did you made it though, right? You right clicked, you made it.
You click on that component and you type on text,
Okay.
which is what I did.
Cool. So I'll go back to that in a bit, and also if you do think that this might be useful for you, we will have this as a recorded VOD, video on demand, so you can watch it whenever you need to, okay? So just do your best to catch up. If you can open up Visual Studio and link it to Unity, that would also be a way to do it. But for now, we're gonna just get access. For all the people who haven't done this is how you do it. You click on get access, and you type in the one you want, and you hope you don't misspell it.
This is the old system, right?
This is the old system. So that's how you would get the value that's found at horizontal. Now, I'm going to say game object, which is what we're in. So I'm going to say game object dot transform. So I'm going to get the transform of our game object dot position dot x is equal to. This is one of the worst ways to change your positions, but I just need it for right now. Oh, 1 second. Let me do this. Dot position. Okay. Equals new vector 3. Let's do it that way. So notice that this is getting increasingly longer and longer. So if you haven't done any programming, this is kind of annoying, right? Now what happens if you change the name of your axis? What happens if you type it wrong, right? If this doesn't match up with the axis in the old Unity input system, it just doesn't work. If you accidentally change your axis and put it as a capital letter when it really shouldn't have been a capital letter, it just doesn't work, right? So that's a frustration that you'll have. So this is what I have in my update step, so you know. And I just realized that this game object should be something I can see, because otherwise this won't really work, right? So I can make this into a sphere. Actually, I'm just gonna make a new child of it. So just so you can see what's going on, this is all we're doing. Right? So I'm pressing my A and my D keys. You can't really tell, but that's what I'm doing. So I'm pressing my A and my D keys, and I'm gonna show you right now that one of the benefits of using a string that's the same is you can use any axis that uses the same string. So you get the same value, right? For those on stream. But it's clunky, right? It's kind of a pain to use. So that's something that we hope the new input system kind of fixes. It's easy to confuse. Can anyone tell me what the difference is between input get key and input get access, or input get button even? What's the difference between them? Can anyone who does know how to program? Yeah, go for it.
Well, because get key is specifically a key code, which is independent of what device you're using.
Cool.
Get button uses the name within the input manager.
Yes.
But only if it's not an axis?
Yes.
The axis will give you a variable depending on like where it's at. It's a nightmare.
Exactly.
The answer is it's a nightmare.
It is a nightmare. And it's unstable. I'll tell you right now, as someone who programs on a Mac, all your games that you make right now won't work for me. Because the A button won't work. Because on Windows and Linux, the A button is joystick button 0. On a Mac, it's joystick button 16. It is ridiculous. There's so many inconsistencies between whether the controller is wired or not wired, or Mac, or Linux, or Windows, or Raspberry Pi or something. It is not good. So, it is that. We have problems, friends. We have problems. What the input manager leaves us is we can't rebind this axis at all. This stick, we actually cannot rebind it at all. We can't manage disconnecting gamepads very easily. That's something we had to consciously think about. So for a new programmer, that's really rough. There's no built-in haptic feedback. You want your controllers to vibrate? You have to download xinput.pure and know how to use that. And in fact, that changes the way you do input, for the record. Or you buy Rewired. You pay $60 for the privilege of getting your controller to buzz. Right? You have to reference an axis via string. And here's the problem with that. When you're doing multiplayer games and you need to figure out which axis is which. So for example, right now, I could have used, and I'll actually show this off. Oh, that's not the right one. This one. Right now for this little game friend. So notice that I have my two controllers here, and I'm moving around, right? I can move with this guy, but I can also move with this guy. So how would I actually tell them apart? You have to make an entirely new axis to tell them apart.
Oh, God.
Yes. So you would have to go to your manager. Where is the manager in here? I closed it. Okay. You have to go all the way to your manager. Project settings. Very annoyingly. You have to find the axis that you want. So because this is a gamepad axis. This is the gamepad axis. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to duplicate it, because that's what I need to do. Now I'm going to name this 1. That's not a 1. That's a Q. 1. I'm going to name this 2. And I'm going to tell you, this is a little bit harder for me because I'm trying to do this in present. But it's also going to be hard for you when you're first learning. And then you have to choose a joystick axis for each individual time you use a stick. What a privilege. I mean, the thing about it is, at least it's consistent about it, right? It's consistently clunky all around. So that is the input system. That's what it leaves us with. Also, if I use a DualShock controller, like a PS4 controller, I don't get descriptors for it. And it's sometimes really inconsistent when you're using wireless versus wired. Direct input, which is anything that's not an Xbox-based controller, has issues being consistent. So what is a new input? What's a new Unity input system, and why do we care about it? First off, the new Unity input system is a preview package. It's in 0.96 as version 0.96 currently, and it's not stated to be released until Unity 2020. They missed the 2019.3 thing. But the thing about it is it's really good. I get really excited about it because of this. I get to control the lights on my controller for my DualShock. And that's something I get to pay for the privilege of. What's up?
Are you just excited because now your DualShock has RGB lighting?
Yes.
Okay.
I am excited for that reason, yes.
Go on.
Sorry, friend. Whoever that was, I'm sorry I'm giving you guys flashbacks. Okay. So I'm going to continue going. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, so, this got reordered a little bit. So first off, reliability. What is the new... what am I even doing? Let's go back a bit. Let's actually install the new input system on your guys' Unity projects. If you have them open, let's do that right now. So make sure you have Unity open. And one of the things I asked you to do was make sure that you guys were in 2019.1, at least, which you guys probably are. I'm going to tell you guys to bump it up a little bit more and get a little bit more things going. you're going to go all the way to your project settings again, please, friends. Project settings. The first thing I want you to do is go to project settings and go to player. So this is essentially how the logic is in your game when it's released on an executable. You need to scroll down and find API compatibility level in configuration. So I'm gonna pause here for a second because it's kind of hard to find for some people. In player, go down until you reach configuration and switch that to 4.0. You'll need it. And a little hint down here is you're gonna be able to change that in a second. Active input handling. TJ, you're pretty bored by this point. You've already seen this all. How have you been liking the new input system? Because I'm gonna let people catch up.
It's pretty good. There's some weird things with it because I'm so used to dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's much quicker to set things up and just get going because you don't have to like alter the array length and all that.
Yeah.
Which is super annoying.
Have you been using the player input components? Like, have you been using the 9.6 version of the new input system?
No, I don't know much about the most recent one.
So the reason why I haven't done this talk yet is because the new input system is amazing. So now that I've done this and I've put this to 4.0, it's there, right? The next thing I want you to do is go all the way to Window and go to Package Manager, please. This is how you get all of the bonus stuff that Unity has. So all the hidden things that they never teach you, they're all in here. So I'm going to close this for now, because I need to find out where my Package Manager went. Or maybe I didn't click on it properly. Okay, so Package Manager. Oh, found it. Okay, it's on my other screen. There we go. So I'm on Package Manager, everyone. And if you scroll down here, you don't see anything that says Input System, right? It's a preview package. So we're going to go to Advanced. We're going to show our preview packages. We're going to wait for them to load. And you'll see a lot of them that now say preview. I've been messing recently with the ML agents. You can do machine learning in Unity. It's actually really fun. But that's not today's talk. Today's talk is this guy. So here's what I'm going to tell you right now. What you want to do when you play with this at home or maybe later today is you want to download all of these. But to start off, let's click install. You'll know you'll successfully install one because up here, it starts saying preview packages in use. At the very top of your screen, at the very top of Unity. Oh, and yes, I would love to switch my backends. So now, it's going to stop using the input manager and start using the input system. If installed properly. And it's going. Okay, so it's installed. I really think the tanks demo is something you can really learn from, as well as the on-screen sample. Everything good? Okay. So, it's installed. We're there. The first thing I want to show you now that it's installed is why I care about it as a nerd. So, I'm going to put a component on our main game object here. So that's how we do things in Unity. I'm going to go to Input and grab stuff. So this is the newer stuff, or at least I never noticed it. I can click on Player Input. Okay. So this is hopefully new to most people. I can click on this. And lots of things pop up. The first thing I actually need to do is go to Input Settings and create that. Simple. Setup is simple. This is your settings page. It's right underneath Input. So if you go to your project settings, it's right underneath Input. Like it is part of the same system. But now, I can do a lot of cool things. But the first thing I really want to show you is if I click on the Input Debugger, and it pops up a window on the right screen instead of the screen I want it to. There we go. So with this Input Debugger, we can see right now how many devices are connected, layouts, so on and so forth. I think my devices connected is wrong, but we'll try to fix that. But it's really cool. It should never say 0, but I'm just going to assume things are wrong. With that in mind, I'm just going to really quickly pull this up and go back over here. And just remind you all, I'm going to have this open. I am not the expert. I'm just the guy up front talking. So, what I need to do is I have this all set up. So I have my input settings ready to go. And for your information, Unity allows you, with its new input system, to do 3 different things. You can do it in a dynamic update, which is similar to your update loop. You can do it in a fixed update, which is by like fixed intervals. Or you can process them manually when you would like them to be processed. I see some reaction over there, Nathan. You okay?
No, I like that. I like the manual.
Yeah. So you can process them manually. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's see if this... Okay, it hasn't connected my devices. I'm going to just skip on to the next thing. I'm going to create actions. So rather than going through and doing the thing where I go through all these axes, I'm going to create actions. And while I talk about actions and work through actions, I'm going to talk about, and this is going to be kind of hard to see, how you could use them. But like, you can use them however you want. Okay, so these are actions. I also need to plug in my computer, so 1 second. It's a kind of intimidating screen. It sort of looks sort of like what it looked like before. But you'll have some very clear wins here that you would have never expected from the old Unity input system. So I'm just gonna do this and plug it over here, and then we're gonna continue our talk like nothing happened. Okay, so let's talk about our first action. We have move. I've named this action move. It's not an axis. I can click on left gamepad stick, right? Left stick gamepad. It's bound to the control scheme gamepad. This sounds really intense right now. I'll go through it with you. Okay, so this path, what is path? Well, it is what I want the gamepad to be, or the axis to be. So if I want to use the D-pad, left stick, right stick, or I can choose specific gamepads. So for example, if you're specifically building to PlayStation, this is a godsend for you. Or if you want to make your controller glow, this is a godsend for you. But you can also click on this, and hopefully the gamepads are working still. They're not.
With the mic, it might be just draining too much power. So you just have 1 or 2 there.
They're using different ports.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I might just have to restart my Unity, is the thing, and that's fine. Because it says that you're supposed to restart your Unity when you switch to 4.0. But I just didn't. That's okay. This should be my wallpaper, honestly. Okay. Yeah, honestly, yeah. While this is happening, I'm going to check for any questions. In just a second. Are there any questions? No questions so far. But Unity is attempting to open.
Did you check Twitch as well?
I'm on there.
Yeah. So I'm just going to quickly check. And here's the thing I like about this. Is if you're able to, and the controller finally connects. There we go. We have our devices. We just had to restart. Okay. So here's me nerding out about the new input system. You have your keyboard. You have your mouse. You have all these devices. I'm going to take... I think this is controller 2, so this is controller 1. Okay. I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to open it up. And what you should see, I don't see any gasping. I don't see any...
Oh my god.
Right? This is the entirety of all the information the gamepad sends out. And what I mean by that is if I start pressing... Oh, I need to click on this screen, don't I? Oh, click over here. Oh, oops, I lost it. Oh no.
Stop losing things. It's right behind it.
Yeah, I need to do it this way. It also could be the other gamepad, and I hope it isn't, because that'd be really embarrassing. Or it could just be giving me that bug. I'm going to go to keyboard, because keyboard's not going to give me any problems, hopefully. Let's go to keyboard. Where's 1, 2... Okay, there we are. So this is what I want you guys to see, and I'm going to be pointing at the screen with my mouse and my finger at the same time. So, first off, every single time Unity processes up something from an input, it gets an event. It pulls for it. So all the way down here, it tells you all of the events, all of the stuff, what happens, the details. For example, I press the characters 1 and 2. right? We can see what device index that is, right? So that's device number 3. It is keyboard, right? And you can see that you can get this entire thing as a byte array. But if I start pressing buttons, I'm gonna press buttons that you can see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it starts flipping those bits. You can actually see that and debug your controllers and your gamepad inputs the exact same way. But here's the really cool part about that. If I click on this, and I go to where it was on my other screen, 1 second, I just brought up that event and that event data, right? This doesn't really matter, but this does. Does anyone know what that is? That is the hex for that event. So you can see exactly what's being sent. And you can send that over the internet using those exact event information. So it's insanely powerful how much control you have over the new input system now, right? Insanely powerful. You can pull entire input from that. So I'm gonna just try this again and see if I can get that to go. And if not, I'm gonna unplug and replug or just switch wires. I'm not sure yet. Oh, here's a fun thing. I just disconnected this controller. Notice what happened to my devices and my new friend that disconnected over there. So I now know which controller is which. This is the disconnected controller. And you can use that information in your games. And that's really important for, let's say, in the old input system, when I plug a controller, it switches up the amount of controllers in an array. Here it doesn't. So I'm gonna see if I can grab information from here. Finally, okay. So let's do this. B, Y, A, X, stick, right? You get all that information. All of it, all the time. You even get like the dead zone shenanigans that are happening there, right? So this is what you want to be looking at when things are going wrong with the new input system. Like, that's the first part of me nerding out. The second part of me nerding out is I attached the player input script over here, right? I did that. Player input script. It's attached to my thing. For me to use a player input script, I'm gonna broadcast messages, because I need to broadcast down to my cube, because I was lazy and set that up wrong. I'm going to take my test script, which is here. Never mind, I don't think I have to do that. Okay, so I have in my actions, which are really important, guys. Actions are the new thing. I have an action called move. Is that right? Everyone can see that? If I have an action called move in this setup, and I'm gonna remind you, I'm not the expert, but I'm hoping this works the way I expect it to. I should be able to just take my code and say void, which means I'm not returning a value, on move. Right? So void on move. But I need more information, because this is just telling me event happened. It's not doing anything. So I'm going to add more information. I'm going to say input value. Okay, and I'm going to say that's a value. So it's type O. Let's also do this. When you're using the new input system, let's make sure we're actually using it using the using keyword. So it's in Unity Engine dot input system. Okay. So I have on move. I can now use value. So what I want to do is I'm going to say var v, or I don't even gonna do that. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to take this new vector. We're going to take this line, really. I'm just going to edit it a bit, because we know it works, right? Why not just do that? So remember, we have 3 different ways Unity wants to use a new input system. Right now I have it processing the events through a dynamic update loop. So it's just the update, right? It's not fixed, it's dynamic. So this isn't going to work just yet, because I need to grab information. So right here, input get access horizontal with old input system gets us a number between 0 and 1, right? Okay. Let's click over here. This is action. This is action type that returns a value. We're going to get a vector 2. We're going to keep that in mind because we're going to go over here. We're going to say value instead of that, right? We're going to say value. Value dot x because that's value dot get vector 2. I should have used a variable. Let's use a variable here. Var v equals value dot get. We're going to use that guy to get the type. I'm going to say vector 2. So now I can just say down here. And after this, I'm going to slow down so people can catch up if they need to. V dot x should work. There we go. And then down here, because I want to move on the z, say v dot. Do I want to move on the z? Sure. V dot y. I did have another project set up for this example to work better, but this is what I got. So we are now pulling for this information. We're moving across. And hopefully, I'm squinting because I'm not really sure. Hopefully this works. Question mark. I just need to double check that I am doing send messages. Now that I think about it, let's see if this works because I'm not sure. It is not working. I will look at that first. I will look at why it's not working. So one thing that we can do now, and this is the reason why the player input script is so important, we can now debug our player stuff. But before we get to it, I gotta go back to the PowerPoint because I got slides for you. Other way. There we go. Over here. So we went over this. We got raw memory. We can check to the bit, right? That's the level of what we can get as live. We use actions of axes, right? And we choose what type of value we want to get. So like the old axes, we can get things that represent D-pads, or things that represent integers like returnians, or touch values, right? If that's the data you want, you can get it. And we can pair users to devices, which is where we are right now, just so we can get there. We can pair users to devices. So we click on my user. Oh, I'm also going to do this. Just for me, for right now, I'm switching to gamepad and I'm switching to player because that's going to bug me. Oh, actually, I'm going to have to do this here. So I'm going to switch to gamepad and I'm going to switch to player. You can do this in code. And it's a lot more convenient. I just want to see if this works. I'm not the expert. I'm just talking. Okay, so now it's working because I am in gamepad. So it's the fact that I was picking up other stuff. But here's the cool thing. See this user and see this guy? Really quickly, I'm going to grab my other controller. I'm going to plug it in. And I hope this works because I was having trouble with this earlier. I'm going to plug it in. So now we know that we have two gamepads connected. How fun would it be if I were able to just duplicate my player and have it work?
Very fun.
Yeah, it would be very fun. I'm going to move it down so you can see that's separate.
But in what universe would that happen?
Yeah, right?
In this universe?
So we have two things. Oh, even better. You can tell. User 1, gamepad. It's using, but which gamepad is it using? Oh. That one's using keyboard now. Oh no. Something changed. I'm not very happy with that. Okay, I'm going to duplicate it in here so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to duplicate it right away, and then I'm just going to move it up a bit. But this is why I want you guys to learn the new input system eventually, because eventually it'll be what Unity uses, right? Oh, I'm pulling from both. I'm pulling from both, guys. I made a mistake. Let's take a look at what happened. So, user 0 has a control scheme gamepad, and it's pulling from a device called gamepad, macOS, whatever, right? So that's user 0, and user 1 is pulling from the same gamepad. That makes sense. How do we change it? Right now, we can do it through code. I'm gonna just change gamepads because it should just be that as another way to fix it right now. Because I'm not very happy with the way that worked out. But you can actually see, if we open this, we do have 2 gamepads, and that's the one I need to put on the other player. Normally, and this normally works, the player input component will automatically pair with an unused controller. That's the beauty of it. So unfortunately, it's not working the way I want it to today. Let's exit play mode. I'm gonna try it one more time because I'm desperate. So gamepad, they're both using the same gamepad. I don't even have to play it, I just know. So, if that's happening, I'm gonna go into this guy. I'm gonna just make another just throwaway script. Let's say you have a gamepad manager script on every player that you have. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna just do that. Gamepad manager, because I'm lazy and I only want to type with one hand. I have a gamepad manager script that is now on only one of them, hopefully. There we are. I think my computer's just not having it. It is a Mac, guys, I'm sorry. So, for my gamepad manager, what I can do is I can grab, I'll get into this more serious typing stuff. I can grab, after going into, using the new input system, I can say, and this will be on the same level, so I can definitely do player, I think it's player input equals p input. So the player input is that component. I'll just do player input with a lowercase. Let's not confuse people too much. So, raise your hand if you've never grabbed a component using code before. Like reference a component. I should have asked you guys' like level of knowledge for stuff beforehand. Okay, so I'm just gonna do it just in case. So I'm gonna say player input equals get components, and we're gonna grab the type that is player input with a capital P. And now we have our reference, and that reference is unbreakable until we break it. So, this is what I want to do. I'm going to check what my player input, I'll do this in update. Player input dot, I'm just gonna hack it for the record. So I can check my devices, right? So let's check my devices, and what do I want to do? Do I want to check the count? Let's check the count. So I'm going to do, if the player device count is greater than, oh no, I can't do that. I do it a different way. If the player inputs dot devices at 0, oh, let's do this a different way. Okay, is not equal to, no, See, this is the thing about it, is it should just work. When I say that, I mean, I'm gonna skip ahead, because I'm tired of talking at myself. I'm not the expert. So I don't have the camera attached. I jumped in. I'm player 0. I'm player 1. Now, the thing that makes this really beautiful is I didn't use too much code to do this. This is me jumping to the end of the presentation because essentially this is where we're getting anyways. So this is player 0 and player 1, right? Without doing any code edits, I can have, okay, yeah, you're gonna be a player. Carly's gonna be a player, and she's gonna look over there, and she's gonna move around and do whatever, and we can do all these things independently of each other. Yes, I'm player 2, okay. Independently of each other. So I'm not touching her screen, she's not touching mine. except I messed up. Anyways, and guess what? Carly. Oh. You press the back button because you're player 2. You're actually player 2. The back button. Back button, Carly. Oh. Press it quicker. Oh, there we go. You can drop in and drop out whenever you want, and there's management in there built in. I just really suck at coding. So once again, we can independently edit things for each player within the system pretty easily.
Take that.
So, it's kind of really impressive. And if I go into pushing us off the map, that's fine. If we go into here, we can see that this is connected to, so user 0 is connected to the first one. User 1 is also connected to the first one? That's not right.
Trailgrazer the sequel.
Don't
Hey.
even. Can't be beat.
Yeah, can't be. Okay.
It will never be beat until Nathan makes another one.
I beat it myself. I'm the one that can beat it.
I'm gonna blame Max for this because this shouldn't be working at all,
Like,
actually.
Is that device that you need device ID under the debug, or
So-
is it just the device name?
That should be the device ID in the debug.
Okay.
The cool thing is that you have a lot more things. For example, one of the components that you have now is you have a multiplayer event system. So if you ever did UI and you're trying to navigate the UI, you're now able to do it individually of other people, right? Without too much scripting. This is all components, right? Oh, you dropped in and dropped out?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I was off the map, so
That's fine.
here we go. Hello.
If I wanted to be extra fancy, I grab another controller from my backpack of controllers. Hope this one doesn't break it. Okay, one sec. We're getting there. Keep on rolling around, Carly. You're making good content.
Make it read it. You got this. Make it blue.
Hi guys, welcome
Make
to
it-
our Let's Play of Angelo's demo game. I'm playing as player 1 today.
So,
So far, I'm just rolling around.
you want to hit blue? You want to hit blue? It's blue, guys. It's blue. Yes. You have full control. What color?
Can it go green?
Can it go? Can it go
I
green?
don't think it can go green.
You
What
tell
is
me.
this? Oh my god. What?
So no, the fact that we can do this is really cool because then you can make all those games where it's like spooky and you get the flashlight. Like Destiny does it. When the flashlight turns on in Destiny, you have this plugged in. Like the light turns on if you're in a cave. Fun fact. I always thought that was really cool. So that was essentially the inspiration for this talk because I wanted this to glow. It came down to just exploring this really cool system. Something that I didn't really do that I'm going to do now. Sorry, Carly. I'm going to just real quickly edit a script so you can see I'm not completely talking out of my butt. Most of it's out of my butt. Don't save here because I'm done trying to make that work. I'm just going to go to this one. Let's go here. Let's go here. Gamepad. Dot. I'm gonna do all at 0. So this is gonna be the first gamepad that's connected. That counts as a gamepad. I'm gonna go sets, motor speeds, because this is also a good reason to use the new input system. You can make things vibrate. I'm gonna do 1F, 1F. So that's full power. As soon as the first, whatever one is connected properly connects and is a part of the game by pressing the start button, it should vibrate. Not sure which one that is. Or it could be none of them and not just working today. Yeah, no, I have an extra screen, so things aren't working out
Out of
properly.
range, Eric?
Probably. I'm not sure what the debug says something. But it's really cool. Long story short, if I wanted to go check out whatever... Okay, that's Carly.
Sorry.
If I want to check out this guy, and go over here, and grab this. Oh, that's Xbox. And grab this. You can grab that, or you can look at that and see that like I think user 1 has a DualShock. And you can see the specifics of that DualShock as soon as I pull it onto the other screen.
You can pair multiple devices to a single user?
Absolutely you can. You can do hot seat gaming. You can switch on the fly. Yes. Yes, you can. So for accessibility, some on the Xbox, you can control one character with 2 or more controllers. There's even the new accessible controller that they have.
Oh, so when you plug it in, it's going to read the device you plug in there, potentially.
Well, it does something different. What I'm saying is you can make things accessible. You can make things however you want with the new input system.
I like that.
It's really cool. But yeah, I'm not the expert. But yeah, so let's sum up. This was an hour. Wow. Let's sum up what we learned. Okay, so you can access the data directly, which you couldn't do before. You can activate your controls by pairing them to a user. Okay. You can choose what schemes or devices you use. For example, you can choose whether or not to be in a player mode or a UI mode. So the same stick will always be reading things. But you can choose whether you're like, as soon as you're in UI, you can be, oh, I'm in UI, I'll do UI control. You can use modifiers. I didn't actually talk about this, but I'll talk about it now. Who here has played Smash Bros? Real high. What's the difference between a forward air and a neutral air?
Forwards go up. You can point the control up. You attack up. Neutral is just whatever direction you're facing.
Yeah. So the thing about it is you can modify any of your controls as an action. So for example, if I wanted to say back air, I could say stick direction plus attack button, and it would just count that as a separate action, and you can use that in your code. Right? It's pretty cool. And use your device. If I go back to this game that's still running and is, I need to figure out who's who and what's what. So I'm player 1 with this controller. I'm player 1 with this controller. This controller is player 2. Whatever that's supposed to mean. So that one's red.
Probably broke it. I want to just restart it.
Sure, I'll do that. Okay. So this will be just easier. So if I do this is the first person connected, right? This is the second person connected. They're 2 different people, right? They're not the same person. I can connect a third person. Hey, it's the DualShock. Okay, this makes more sense to me now. So I got the DualShock. If I unplug that guy, does it affect the DualShock controls? Oh wait, it did what? Never mind. This was supposed to not affect each other, but maybe it does. We'll see. One more time. Oh, it crashed. Perfect.
Good job, Angela's back. Good job.
I blame the Mac. There are lots of bugs with the new input system. What it comes down to is if you don't know how to make an input system, this does it for you. You just need to know, okay, do I need to make a combined action? Do I know how to access a variable, right? Do I know how to access an event? They're more complicated things, but you really don't have to touch them. Yeah. So acknowledgements, go to that link and learn all about it, because I skimmed a lot of things and did talk about other things. And photos were from this professional photographer dude from one time, and our good friend Austin, who is our VP of
Another question in the
events.
previous slide thing.
Oh, perfect. Well, let me go pull it up. What's my favorite color? That's a great question. My favorite color is vermilion, followed by
It's not a real color.
pearl mystic turquoise, followed by blue de France, followed by lime yellow.
Specifics.
Yes.
Super specific.
Yes. Great question. Okay, so does anyone want me to go over anything or break anything else?
Are you sticking around for 101?
What?
Like if people wanted to work on this more, are you sticking around for 101s here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Can you bring up the GitHub page?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you want? I'll put that actually.
Yeah, can you post that in Discord?
Oh, I can post it on the Discord. Also, one thing I will announce this here, and I'll announce this everywhere. The VOD will be up, the PowerPoint will be up, and the project that I messed around with actual trails that actually kind of works will be up. So you guys can examine all my bad code.
Cool.
The PowerPoint and the game will take a little bit longer. because I will have to fix them. Because I'm not handing out bad code to you guys. But otherwise, we're good. 1 second. Yeah, so that's that. Any other questions? Anything else? Does anyone feel intimidated by the new input system? That's a question I have. Intimidated?
Yeah.
What about?
No, just using it. That I really like how many options you got. Just knowing what is available.
Cool. Anyone intimidated by the old input system? Is it the new one better for you?
The new one looks a lot more user friendly to me.
That's good to hear. Okay. Anyone else? Any other inputs? How do we feel? If I did another talk and talked about machine learning, you guys want to listen to me talk for that long again?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure,
Thanks,
I want
guys.
to see a robot walk.
Well, this is good. I mean, like, I didn't know anything about this. I'll have to go over everything later.
Yeah, I'm going to close the stream, guys. Thanks for watching.